What's up, guys? It's Patricia from tarantulaheaven.com. We have Miss Spidey, my beautiful Chilean rose hair, right here. Today we're making a video about a bite report, my first one ever. And I have to say, this is not the bite report that I thought I would be making. Definitely not what I expected. But I wanted to share this with you because I know that you guys love my pets, and I thank you so much for loving my pets. Before I get started, if you are squeamish or do not enjoy details or descriptions about injuries or bodily fluids, I highly suggest that maybe you don't watch this video, or at least look away as I narrate that I am showing some images. So anyway, let's get started. So the bite that I'm talking about is actually not from this beautiful spider right here. It is actually from my other pet who has kind of gained a lot of popularity on my channel. Yes, even though this is a tarantula channel, I often do talk about the jealous cat, who is my 19-year-old beautiful white cat named Ava. A lot of you really do enjoy hearing about her, and I've made a few videos on the channel just showing how adorable and precious she is. But anyway, so Ava goes to the vet quite a bit. I've made a lot of videos about her health journeys, and she has quite a few health things that we're managing because she is 19 years old. And so she goes to the vet a lot, and all the vets love her. But I did get a little glimpse into Ava's naughtier side when I went away to Mexico, and my sister was watching her during that week. And, you know, just in case anything happened and my sister had to take Ava to the animal hospital, I had the vet email over all of Ava's medical records just so that my sister would have them. And I read these records because it was emailed to me as well. And I really got a different glimpse into what Ava's like behind closed doors at the vet. I used to be able to go in with her, but since COVID, the vet is kind of operating on a curbside type of arrangement. So I bring her to the vet, they take her in, and I wait out in the car. And there were a lot of notes about how they need to use several different restraint methods, such as using towels, using like an underarm grip. They also talked about at times needing a muzzle for her and also needing cat gloves and 2 people at one point. So I'm like, oh wow, she's a demon, or she's that cat that you see on YouTube videos that like is just vicious. And it's just so surprising. I was really beside myself when I read the notes on her file because she is such a sweetheart at home. She is so affectionate. She's always been sassy and bossy, but that's her charm. And that's why I call her the jealous cat. And she's just amazing. So I couldn't believe that this is the trouble that she's been giving the vets. And so what happened was Ava had to get, because her fluids for her kidney disease have to happen pretty frequently, I was taking her to the vet once a week, and this was putting a lot of stress on her. And so one of the really wonderful vets or their technicians suggested that they would actually do a house call so that Ava could get her fluids at home and at least move part of that stress away from her, so she wouldn't have to do the whole car ride and this whole like anticipatory event. You know, the vet would come to the house and give her fluids, and I would be there to comfort her and hold her, and that seemed like such a great idea. And it was working out very, very well. But a few weeks into this routine, Ava started to get really smart. She started to know that once a week, I'm not getting out of this. Even though I'm not going to the vet is coming to me. And she must sense my body language on the mornings that the vet is coming, because she just knows I can look at her, and she must sense that I'm dreading getting her in the carrier because she's very elusive when she wants to be. And so, you know, getting her in a carrier is a nice little project. She does things like hide under the bed, hide under the table, make me chase her around the house. There's even moments where she will actually pretend she's falling asleep so that it's harder for me to pick her up. She's just, our animals are so smart when they don't want to do something. And so that particular morning, a few days ago, I almost knew that we were going to have a problem because she was being especially difficult for me to hunt her down and get her into the carrier. And I could just tell by the look on her face that today is not going to be a good day for her. And so I did get her in the carrier and she was already mad. Then the vet comes and, you know, the vet has Ava, like, the technique down to a science. And I actually think it's really beneficial for Ava to see just this one particular vet and not have to see a different vet every time she gets fluids, because she gets used to the technique. But on the other side of that, there's a little bit too much predictability here. Ava knows what she's in for. And so Ava was in the carrier. She was upset. She was pouting. The vet, you know, gets the fluid equipment set up, preps the needle and everything, and we get into position. And so what happens is Ava's got this awesome carrier, and I'm going to leave a link in the description to it because it's the best carrier. We used to do her fluids in like a hard case carrier, and the vets just hated it. It was terrible because it was so hard. They had to like completely dismantle it to do the fluids. So with this one, it's got a top that just unzips, and so it allows me to hold Ava from the top in the carrier so she can't squirm or escape. And for the vet, it's big enough for the vet to put their hands and do the fluid, and it just works out really well. Well, the vet had suggested several times that we use a towel to put over Ava's face, and I hadn't been listening to that advice because generally Ava would tolerate it, right? But like I said, every week she started to get grumpier and grumpier. And this week she just decided she wasn't having it. So the way I was holding Ava was that, you know, part of one hand, this hand, is on Ava's neck/head, just kind of stabilizing her, make sure she doesn't move or thrash around. And then the other hand is on her back to, you know, stabilize her body, because, you know, one, we don't want this to take longer than it's supposed to, because it's not pleasant for her. The vets told me that most animals hate fluids, but Ava in particular really doesn't like them. And we also don't want her to have to get pricked multiple times. So we want that needle to go in once, to go in correctly and stay in there. And that's really hard if Ava's moving around. But anyway, so I'm holding her without the towel. I'm holding her head. She is making all sorts of growly noises, way more than usual. And she snaps her head back and she bites my ring finger on my left hand. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm going to insert some pictures because it was pretty gnarly. But this ring finger is a slightly different color than the rest, and it's definitely swollen. She got me right here with the top and the bottom, and it hurts so bad. But I was like, you know, the vet had gotten the needle in, which was why Ava reacted. And I know that we just have to get this over with. So, you know, I took the bite and I just pretended that nothing happened. But I started to feel a lot of warmth, and that was interesting. And then like just 2 seconds later, the vet starts saying, oh my God. And she starts like getting really upset. And I was like, oh crap, like Ava drew blood, like my little vampire. And I was gonna keep going because like I'm thinking, let's get this done. Like this poor cat is gonna bite me again. And I didn't realize how bad it was, but blood was apparently getting everywhere, all over the carrier. It was getting all over Ava. And I realized why the vet was freaking out, because the vet thought that the blood was coming from Ava and that maybe she'd gotten the needle in poorly or something like that. Fortunately, it was just me, but blood was getting everywhere. We had to pause and I had to run to the sink, trailing blood all through the house. And I actually thought I was gonna have to go to the doctor for a second because it was bleeding so much that I was like, do I need stitches? Like it was like a very deep puncture wound. And one thing I will say about Ava, my sister can attest to this when she's given her treats while taking care of her. Ava might be 19, but like she has some really sharp teeth. Like those things are like shark jaws and shark teeth. And she really got me. And so I'm trying to make the blood stop. I'm like going through paper towels like nothing, putting it underwater. The poor vet is now asking me if I'm okay. We abandoned Ava, closed the carrier, and just left her in there because there's blood everywhere. And fortunately, it did stop. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't have to go to the hospital right now. And I was able to put a band-aid and like some towels around my finger to stop it, and even like clean the blood up before it dried. And it was terrible. It got in the carrier, it got all over Ava, it got on the couch. There was just like a trail. And once we verified that it was my blood and that Ava was actually okay, I cleaned her up to the best of my ability. It was really hard because she was still pissed. And I gave the vet some gloves so that she wouldn't have to touch the blood. And we actually did proceed to do the fluids. And Ava was so upset and I was terrified. I actually did use the towel, and will use the towel over her head for the rest of the time we have to give her fluids, because I don't want to go through this again. And so the vet was pretty shaken. I mean, they said they see blood all the time, but I think she was just so concerned about Ava and also me. She's very kind. And it was a pretty rough start to her morning. She already had a major accident and she hadn't even gotten to work yet. She just always comes before she goes to work to see Ava. So we did the fluids. Ava was so unhappy, but she made it through. And my finger, the blood was clotting, so I was no longer just bleeding out through my finger. And so yeah, she left, and I got to take care of my finger a little bit more. And throughout the day, and I got to clean Ava up as much as she would let me. There was still quite a bit of remnants of blood and coloration in her fur, but she wasn't letting me really get too much near her because she was upset about the whole thing. And she rested for the rest of the day. And I had to work. I was trying to type and stuff, and my finger was like blowing up. My boyfriend helped me clean it, and throughout the day it actually started to get more swelled up and really hurt. It started to turn purple. I could tell like, wow, the whole finger is going to be bruised. I couldn't move it too much because of the swelling, but I knew that nothing too bad had happened to it, because I could move it if the swelling hadn't been there. So I showed my siblings, and my little sister was like, you need to go to the doctor, because they were like, why is your finger purple? And I was like, one, like my sister's kind of very careful about that stuff, probably more to like perhaps a little bit hypochondriac type of way. So I was like, I dismissed it. I was like, no, like, what are they going to do? It's not like it's broken or anything. They're just going to tell me that it's bruised. And it continued to get worse. And later that night, I showed my boyfriend a picture of it, and he was like, wow, I think you should go to the doctor. And I wasn't going to until he said something, because my boyfriend will not go to the doctor for a lot of things. So for him to say something like that made me believe like, wow, it must really look bad. Maybe I should go. So I went to urgent care in the morning, and they examined my finger. It's not going to fall off. They don't have to amputate it. So that's great. This is now several days after I have almost full movement. Almost all the swelling's gone down. I've been icing it. I've been cleaning it a lot. They gave me 10 days of antibiotics and some ointment. And just in case any of you ever get a really serious bite from your cat, I was lucky in that it was my cat, and I know that my cat is updated on all her vaccines. She does not have rabies, and she's an indoor cat. So I know that like this was probably the best case scenario. And I'm also glad that she bit me instead of the vet. Like that would have been terrible. I don't mind. I'm not mad at her. So the doctor told me, who examined my finger, that cat bites are actually quite serious, a little bit more so than dogs, because while they're smaller, their teeth are very sharp. And also, cats apparently have a huge amount of bacteria in their mouths. And so it's very common for people to not go to the doctor after getting bit by a cat, especially one that's like deep, like the one I got. You know, it's not just a little surface scratch she got in there. And it actually, like, people's hands or the site of the injury blows up because it gets infected or something else, because it wasn't treated. So they said it was actually good that I did go. So that was a nice lesson. However, I do not plan on getting bitten again by Ava. It wasn't fun. I am still cleaning the stains out of my couch. I think I've gotten most of it up, but the couch is now discolored a little bit from all the cleaning agents that I've been using, so I might have to replace that couch eventually. Ava's doing well. Her fur is still a little bit stained, and I'm gonna have to brush out the dried bits of blood that I couldn't get near because she's being like super defensive. And you know, she's been very sweet and shows no remorse, but she's her sweet self. And yeah, so that's my exciting bite report. Never thought I'd be making a bite report about my cat. I thought if I ever made a bite report video, it would be about this one. But I do think the story is important because many of you love the jealous cat, as do I. And also, I know that a lot of people get bitten by cats, and whether it's a stray cat, oh, she's on the move. Whether it's a stray cat or it's your cat, you have to go to the doctor. I did not know that cat bites could be as serious as this, and that you really do need medical treatment and antibiotics. So that is my little statement for you guys. If you take nothing away from this, just if you do get bitten by a cat, please go to the doctor, especially if it's not your cat and if you don't know if that cat has their rabies vaccination. But anyway, I'm on the mend. I'm doing well. It doesn't hurt to type anymore, so that's great. And I do believe that eventually I'll be able to work out again and hold dumbbells in this without it hurting. So I don't believe any real damage has been done. Thank you so much for watching. And next week, I promise we will have a Tarantula Tuesday about or related to tarantulas. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.